jogging. He went to the sports store to see about getting some jogging shoes. While trying on a basic pair, he noticed a minor feature and asked the clerk, "What is this little pocket thingy on the side of the shoe?" And the clerk said, "Oh, that's to carry spare change so you can call your wife to come and pick you up when you've jogged too far." And some of us could relate to that. Man said, "Last year I entered the New York City Marathon. The race started, and immediately I was the last of the runners. It was embarrassing. The guy who was in front of me, second to last, was making fun of me. He said, 'Hey buddy, how does it feel to be last?' I replied, 'You want to know?' And I dropped out. In a sense, life, and especially the Christian life, is something of a race. As Hebrews told us this morning, it's more like a marathon than it is a 100-yard dash. And sometimes the race can be difficult. Life is not easy. And living for Christ is not easy. But I'd rather run the race with Jesus than without him. Wouldn't you? Let us fix our eyes on Jesus, says Hebrews, the author and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy set before him endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Jesus is the author of our faith, the way, the truth, and the life. Someone wrote, Socrates taught for 40 years, Plato for 50, Aristotle for 40, and Jesus for only 3. Yet the influence of Christ's 3-year ministry infinitely transcends the impact left by the combined 130 years of teaching from these men who were among the greatest philosophers of all time. Jesus painted no pictures, yet some of the finest paintings of Raphael and Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci received their inspiration from him. Jesus wrote no poetry, but Dante, Milton, and scores of the world's greatest poets were inspired by him. Jesus composed no music. Still Handel and Haydn and Beethoven and Bach and Mendelssohn reached their highest perfection in the hymns and symphonies that they composed in his praise. Every sphere of human greatness has been enriched by this humble carpenter of Nazareth. It sounds like Jesus is the author of most good things in life, the central figure of our faith. The problem is that many people today don't take him seriously. Many don't believe in Jesus. They don't believe that his sacrifice on the cross has done any good. You know, the Pittsburgh airport is one of the busiest and best equipped in the nation. 2 seconds in flying time from the airport and in direct line with one of the busiest runways is the steeple of Union Church. Ever since the terminal opened, said the pastor, planes have buzzed the belfry like bees after honey. It got so bad that low-flying jets turned our Sunday evening services into sudden prayer meetings. Reluctant to have their steeple carried away by some careless and unwary pilot, the church topped it with an 8-foot neon-lighted cross. The church is on the highest point near the airport, and the lighted cross can be seen at night by planes flying all the way from the Ohio border. One of the pilots made this interesting comment regarding the lighted cross. Most of us are using it as a guide to the field. Catherine of Siena Church on Ridge Road in Wichita is building a new sanctuary. And they are also building two 140-foot towers. They will be topped, each of them, with a cross. The pilots and the passengers in their planes can see those towers as they approach Eisenhower Airport. Father Dan said to me that one of the reasons he wanted those towers was to say to the pilots and the passengers that these are Christian communities and we are praying for them and for their safety. They will be using those towers as a guide to the airport. The cross of Christ is a guide for us all. Jesus began his ministry by being hungry, yet he is the bread of life. Jesus ended his earthly ministry by being thirsty, yet he is the living water. Jesus was weary, yet he is our rest. Jesus paid tribute to the king, yet he is the king. Jesus was accused of having a demon, yet he cast out demons. Jesus wept, yet he wipes away our tears. Jesus was sold for 30 pieces of silver, yet he redeemed the world. Jesus was brought as a lamb to the slaughter, yet he is the good shepherd. Jesus died, yet by his death he destroyed the power of death. Thanks be